I'm in New Jersey right now, and I am a big basketball fan, and I
Mm-hmm.
happen to be a Nets fan. And I was at the Barclays Center last night. And when I showed up, you had about, I'm not kidding, it had to be at least 400 to 500 Black Hebrew Israelites that were, basically running a barricade outside of the arena. And at the time, I didn't know what it was, but they looked very organized and very serious. And I had an inkling that it had something to do with Kyrie Irving, Jen. That's who we're talking about.
I know who it is. I just don't I'm just not, I know it had something to do with, he put a link to a movie that was like a Hitler thing. Like, I just don't know the details enough to comment on it.
There was something that I thought was very, somewhat very awe-inspiring in a lot of ways. And it's very true because let's say for the sake of argument that he's wrong. Black men always seem to get thrown under the bus faster than anybody else. There's a lot of people that are guilty of saying a lot of atrocious things about Jews. I personally believe most of anti-Semitism stems from Zionism. I believe that in my
except for it existed long before Zionism. That's where your problem. That's where you're like, the reason that Zionism started was sort of in a response to the anti-Semitism. I'm just saying it's a chicken and an egg.
It is a chicken and an egg, but it's like anything in life. The second that somebody figures out how to screw everyone else for their own personal gain, they're going to use it to their advantage. Much like anything else. It's like somebody who, it's like I know people who trade on the stock market that are very honest actors, but there's always going to be somebody who's going to take advantage of that situation. Just like there are people who very much believe in the protection of Israel because there are many people on this world who want to wipe Jews off the face of the earth. There's also people who recognize that and they use Zionism, if you will, as a shield from any real constructive criticism. They basically say, if you say anything bad about Jews, even an inkling that you think there's something wrong with the way that they conduct business, you're out. And so when I saw those individual gentlemen protesting in front of the arena last night, I thought, I don't have to agree in almost any way with what they're doing. But what it shows me is that if there's real solidarity especially for Black men in a way that we probably haven't really seen before, that's going to have a lot of positive effects within their own community. And it's also going to give the Zionist movement a little bit of pause because at least the conversation is happening now about the differences between Judaism and Zionism. Everyone wants to throw it together into basically one pot and mix it all together, and that's not what it is. So having this conversation right now, especially with the backdrop of what I saw last night, I think as much as that may frighten people in some ways, I think there's also something to be said about the fact that there is solidarity when somebody is just arbitrarily trying to, let's say, just throw another successful Black man, baby out with the bathwater type situation.
Yeah, I think it's super complex. We actually did a call last week at this time with Dream Defenders and a number of other folks, Jared Ball and folks talking about this. It's super complex. And I know people always say that, but especially around Israel, everyone tries to make it so complex. We see it pretty simple, but around this specific conversation, Peter, it is very complex. And I just want to try to lay out some of it because I like to be understood. And so Black people, in particular, sometimes Black men, I think it's interchangeable. I don't think more often than Black women, but more often than not, Black people usually take the biggest whippings for public shortcomings and failings. The things that Donald Trump has said, the things that, frankly, most Republicans who have run for office over the last 10 years have said. What Kyrie did, because he really didn't say anything, pales in comparison. We're not talking about Kanye at all. We're talking about Kyrie, pales in comparison to what the political discourse in the mainstream has been from white men predominantly around the Jewish people in this country and the world over. But Kyrie is facing excoriation about what he posted, not what he said. Now, that's one thing that I fully agree with you on, Peter, that it is often the case that when a Black person runs afoul of some norm, that they'll lose everything. It's over for them. Public whipping, boy, you don't want to be made an example of. Don't be like this person. So I fully agree with you there. Another layer to it, what Kyrie posted, I haven't watched the film, but I grew up a Black man in the country. I feel like I know everything that was in the film without seeing it. Is a part of a thread of really what is really a Black Christian thing, right? And what I mean by that, it is a part of a thread of Black knowledge gathering that says that since we have been so maligned in the United States, so mistreated in the United States, that we must be the original children of Israel. That our time in this country is analogous to the 40 years in the wilderness spent by, in the Bible, the children of Israel. And so we must be the true children of Israel. That's what was in the film. And that is also the ideology espoused by those 400 to 500 men out there yesterday. I don't subscribe to that ideology. Furthermore, I think that while it was an incredible showing of solidarity by a people who feel that someone who made a mistake is being overly maligned by a very powerful group of people, I do oftentimes wish that we had a greater level of political understanding in our solidarity. And so was exciting to watch yesterday, people standing up for another Black person. I wish that there was a greater understanding of the political terrain that we're operating on. And also that group of men who were out there yesterday in accordance with their beliefs that Black people are the original Jews, then espouse a whole bunch of other convoluted theories about who is masquerading as Jews today and what should be done with them, which I can't get with either. And so when I say it's complex, I really only scratched the surface of the different feelings and thoughts that I had witnessing it. I think Kyrie is a brother who is just like in a lot of ways I was 20 years ago. And what I mean is I watch Hidden Colors. I don't know if y'all have heard of it or seen it, but it's, when you're discovering a whole bunch, when you're opening up to the lies, for instance, Jen, the place that you were when you were and maybe are, I don't want to, but when you were discovering about Israel and the truth of it, man, you're just wide open. You're just wide open, like I remember when I was first finding out stuff, I don't know if somebody I really respected came to me and started talking about aliens, I might have just been like, tell me more, tell me more. And so Kyrie is a very public person who's experiencing that level. And so do I think that the anti-Semitic label was thrown at him wrongly and unjustly? Absolutely. 1,000%. Do I think that film that he shared was riddled with anti-Semitic tropes and a whole bunch of random ideologies? Absolutely. And both of those things are absolutely true. Do I think that he watched the movie, had his mind blown and wanted to talk about his mind being blown with other people? Absolutely as well. And so that's the complexity of it. But I don't agree with the film. It's not a matter of agreeing, but it's just factually incorrect.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.